What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button before we get started. It's officially been 1 year since I bought my Bronco, and there's a couple of things I want to talk about, whether it was worth buying or not. This is my 2022 Ford Bronco. It's an Outer Banks in eruption green. It has the Sasquatch package, and coming over to the interior, it also has the Lux pack with the big screen, leather seats, and all of the goodies inside. Now, if you haven't been following along with the journey of the Bronco, I haven't really done anything with it recently, but I waited 18 months for this vehicle to arrive. I spec'd it a very certain way, and I wasn't really willing to change the spec to get it any quicker. At the time I ordered it, it was just about a year into everything kind of happening with the Broncos, and well, let's just say, they were very backed up at the time. I think wait times are still in the 6 months at the minimum, but 18 months is probably no longer a thing. One of the many reasons I waited really long for was because of the hardtop. I did not want a soft top, and I wanted to make sure I had the hardtop option, so that's why I waited as long as I did. Let's give it a quick startup. I think a really good way to kind of do this video is to go for a little drive and talk about some of the features. This is the 2.7 liter V6. I wanted to make sure I had the V6. The i4 just doesn't have the low end power that makes it kind of like a super comfortable cruiser. I just don't think an i6 really suits this vehicle. As far as the 2.7, after driving the Raptor, I really wish they did the 3.0 in this, and they did a 3.2 or a 3.5 liter in the Raptors. The bigger motors making that low end torque just really make these vehicles so much more smooth. I have no complaints as far as the 10-speed go. Some people say they like to search for gears and all these things, but really I've never had that issue. For the Bronco, we're currently at about 11,500 miles, which is crazy, but it's been getting its use on a daily basis, and it's honestly a really nice truck. I do have a couple of negative things that I do want to bring up, and things that I wish Ford did better on or differently on. But before we talk about the negative things, I just have to say that the Bronco gets a lot of hate, and honestly, for what it is, I don't see the hate. Bronco finally got tints on the front two windows and paint protection film on the front end. Now, unfortunately, we got that a little too late in the season. The dunes closed October 31st, and that's the day I flew out to Las Vegas, so unfortunately, I could not make it to go to the sand dunes. I really want to do a cross-country trip to Moab in this truck. That's one of the main reasons I got it, is to use it, and I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun taking this truck out to Moab, taking the truck out and enjoying it on some light trails. Now, the one thing the Bronco doesn't have that a lot of people grill it for is the solid front axle. The Bronco doesn't have a solid front axle, so it's a little bit weaker than Jeeps are when it really comes to true off-roading, and Jeep is better at true off-roading, but just daily driving comfortability, the Bronco is much more comfortable than the Jeeps I've driven to drive on the road. And let's be real, if you're buying a 35,000 plus vehicle, this one's stickered at about $59,000, you're gonna be driving it a fair amount, if not on a daily basis. No one's really going to be driving these strictly off-road, and if you are, I mean, good for you, but you're most likely gonna be getting a lot of street use, which is one of the reasons I feel like Ford decided to not go with the solid front. Now, we haven't done too many mods to the Bronco yet, but that's probably gonna change. There's a couple of things I want to add, even if it's just cosmetic or just for looks and not for actual performance, even though, like I said, mild off-roading. I want to change that front bumper for sure. I'm not a big fan of this factory bumper. For those who do not watch the channel and are not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, but the metal front bumper was optioned on my truck, but I didn't receive it because of back orders. I canceled the metal front bumper and the rear tow hitch, and I want to change the front bumper, possibly the rear bumper, and add a tow hitch to this vehicle so I can actually use it for mild towing, even though they're not really the best for that. Now, last year it got extremely cold when we took delivery of it. I believe it was significantly colder than it is right now when we actually had the Bronco. This year's been super busy, and we haven't really got too many opportunities to use it, but back in 4th of July weekend, we had the whole thing open and enjoyed the Bronco just fully open with all the doors off, all the roof off, and it's really fun. One of the main reasons that I wanted to get one of these and chose this over a 4Runner is to just have that extra experience of the convertible life, but that comes with the downside. Now, the couple of Jeeps that I have been in have been a little quieter than the Bronco has. Now, the first Bronco that I was in made a lot of noise. I believe it was a soft top, and I was a little worried at the time that this thing would be super noisy. They changed a couple of things from the first year, and with the hard top, it made a huge difference. But one of the things is, it's significantly louder than a normal vehicle would be. I wish there was a little bit more sound deadening and a little less road noise from the roof than there is. That being said, it's not the biggest complaint I have of the Bronco. Now, the last year hasn't been just completely fine. I've had a couple of error messages and a couple of software glitches come up in the vehicle. So let's start off with the first issue. When I took delivery of the vehicle, about a month later, I was about an hour away in Milwaukee. I was looking at cars and the brake light came on. No idea why. I turned the vehicle on. It said brake system malfunction. So I said, okay, well, I don't really know what to do, so I am going to try driving the vehicle. I'm assuming that it's just an error message, something stupid has gone wrong in the software. That's pretty much exactly what it was, because as I continued to drive, my brakes were working fine, and I pulled over, parked, and turned the vehicle off for 15 minutes, came back, and the light was gone. That happened a couple of times in the first month and a half. After that, I haven't seen the message come back. Then I had a second issue, which was that window right there. That window, when I would roll it up, would immediately roll back down, and it refused to close. That was yet another software glitch, and I had to reset the window by holding the window button down for 10 seconds and just repeating that process until it eventually closed. Not a big deal, but that was the second thing that came up. Then the third thing came up about a month ago when I picked it up from getting paint protected. The Bronco just wouldn't start. Don't know what went wrong with the truck, but after getting food, I came in, tried to start the vehicle, and it wouldn't turn over. The screens came on, and then I tried it again. For some reason, the truck just would not start. Waited 5 minutes, stepped out of the vehicle, came back, still wouldn't start, and I was like, is this thing about to leave me stranded here? I was an hour away from home, and I really didn't feel like getting it towed. Then I decided to try something else. I remote started the vehicle. It started with the remote start. I hopped back in and turned it on, and that's how I got it to work that day. Hasn't happened since, but happened that one time, and that could have been bad. Other than that, those are all of the small little software glitches that I've had in the Bronco. Now, trying to think of any other dislikes I have of the thing, there really aren't too many. Honestly, other than the two things that I've mentioned, with the roof making a little bit more noise than I wanted to, but still not being horrible, and it's gonna be like that. I know it's a convertible. I know, okay? And I really wish the motor had a little bit low in torque. And I say that after driving an F-150. The F-150 with 3.5 liter V6 is such a comfortable ride, and stepping into the Bronco, you miss just a little bit of that comfort and smoothness on the low end. Now, those aren't make or breaks. I think the Bronco is a phenomenal vehicle. I think Ford did a fantastic job with this. I cannot wait to take it off-road as soon as I possibly can and modify it a little bit more. There's a huge growing aftermarket support for these things, and overall, the Bronco's been great. As far as regretting buying it, absolutely not. The one thing with the Bronco is the prices are finally starting to fall. Now, this has been a $59,000 sticker and about a $70,000 to $65,000 vehicle all day long with the used market. But finally, we're seeing the Bronco prices fall to about sticker. Soon they will be under sticker, which is something I anticipated and expected and am okay with. That's just the decision I decided to make with this vehicle. Now, I'm going to be keeping this thing for hopefully a long time. For those who do not intend to keep theirs for a long time, now would be the perfect time to cash out of it. The other thing with the Bronco, Jeeps, 4Runners, if you've really looked at Jeeps and 4Runners in specific, they tend to hold their values fairly good. So I think this isn't going to be an exception. Yes, it might lose $10,000, $15,000 off the sticker price, but really in the next 4 or 5 years, I think that's pretty much the most it's going to lose. Right now, the car market's really messed up. If you don't want to spend over $100,000 on a Raptor and pay over a sticker for them, the Bronco is awesome. For $35,000, $40,000, the base models are awesome. For about $55,000, $60,000, I think this is just a really sweet spot to be in between the Raptor and a base model. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about the Broncos and depreciation going into the future. That's really honestly all I have. It's just been a phenomenal vehicle, had a couple of hiccups and things go wrong, but overall it's been solid. And if you're thinking about buying one with the market correcting, maybe you can find yourself a great deal. Otherwise, if you're gonna order yourself a new one, I say go for it.